Okay, welcome to Unit 1, Lecture Section 5. The Earth's a big place, so in geology we just don't study the whole thing. That's just too much. So we just break it up, and we can break up the Earth and do something called systems, and then we figure out how those systems work with other systems. So breaking it up into chunks. Okay. So again, Earth's big, too big to study. We break up the Earth into things called systems. A system is defined as any portion of the universe, really, that can be isolated for the purpose of observing and measuring. I could break a system down into a mountaintop, into the river and its banks, to the top of the water in a lake or ocean and its fish, to the organisms at the bottom of the water, the sediment and rock layers below the ocean. A system is anything I want to define it as. This place over here, it could be 1 foot by 1 foot, it could be 10 miles by 10 miles big. So a system is whatever I want to define it as. So, in regards to Earth and its systems, we can break them down into different spheres to help, again, drill down into geology, no pun intended, to break up Earth into 4 larger spheres. There's the geosphere, which is all the solid stuff, the Earth as a whole, that's all the solid stuff. The biosphere, that's all the living and stuff, as well as dead organisms, all the biologic stuff, animals, plants, etc. The atmosphere, well, the gases that surround Earth, and then the hydrosphere, water. So that includes liquid water, ice, and gaseous water, but that's more so in the atmosphere. So liquid water and solid water, known as ice, we study the hydrosphere. So we can take the Earth and we can just break it down into those 4 systems, or 4 spheres. The geosphere is kind of where geology focuses on, but everything has to play a part. Geology is what's known as the capstone science, and it's to really understand geology. To really understand geology, you have to understand physics. If you know physics, you need physics to understand chemistry. You need physics and chemistry to understand biology. You need physics, chemistry, and biology to properly understand geology. Now, this is just an introductory class. None of that is required. However, to truly master geology, you do have to have a lot of information from different inputs, the different sciences, including, again, physics, chemistry, and biology. So all of that plays a part in geology. So that's why you have to kind of study these different spheres, not just the solid stuff, but the living stuff, the atmosphere, the water. They all play a part. They all interact. The atmosphere and the biosphere, they shape the geosphere. Wind and water, rain shapes rocks. Same with water on land and rivers and streams and ice and glaciers, as well as living material can help to shape and break down any rock material, any solid material. So it all flows together. So within these systems, or within these spheres, there are cycles. Specific to what we'll study here in geology, we have the hydrologic cycle, or the water cycle, describes the movement of water. The rock cycle, how rocks change, modify, transport, break down from one form to another. And the tectonic cycle. That's kind of where we're going to start our conversation in geology, the process that drives the movement of the lithosphere, which is the solid crust, the plates, moving the tectonic plates around. And again, like I said, that's where we'll start. So in this first unit, it's kind of a broad overview of geology and Earth as a whole. As we start into Unit 2, we'll start with the tectonic cycle. The tectonic cycle is driven by the internal energy of the Earth. So that's why this unit we talk about kind of really briefly what's inside. We'll spend some more time in Unit 2. But it's that internal energy, the heat from inside the Earth, that drives the tectonic cycle. It's the tectonic cycle that drives the rock cycle. And it's the rock cycle is also affected by the water cycle interacting there. So these 3 different cycles working within, around, and between the different spheres of Earth we'll kind of focus on. So the first part of class, the whole entire class, we'll spend a number of units talking about within the tectonic cycle, then within the rock cycle, then within the hydrologic cycle, and how it all plays a part. And you get solar energy as an input coming into the energy, adding energy to the hydrologic and driving the water cycle, as well as affecting the rock cycle. Okay, so that is it for section 5. Sorry, I had a quick pause there. Sorry about that. So this brings us to the end of section 5. We'll pause here and we'll pick it up for one last video for section 6.